Outside of that, I finally have finished Spiritfarer,
Okay,
and
that's an accomplishment.
yeah, I put a lot of time into that game. I thoroughly beat it. It is very much a collectathon towards the end. There's some collections that you can get, which will unlock outfits for the main character, and it was a powerful game, very powerful game. Um, Strangely, I think it may have been, in a way, the best game for 2020 because it is a very relaxing and soothing game, but it also has a very heavy subject matter.
Hmm.
You're dealing with your character is bringing people across, the through the afterlife and guiding them to the other side.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty heavy.
it's really heavy. And as you come to find out, all of the people that you're bringing across, you knew in real life. Your character starts to discover, oh, maybe this one's my uncle, this one's my aunt, my friend. Um, and there's just each one has its own story and their way of kind of dealing with uh, finding what they need to find out so that they can go to finally just say, okay, I've finished what I needed to finish here in this life. I'm ready to move on.
Hmm.
So the game is very much about knowing when to let go, knowing um, when to love somebody and when to leave them alone. There's a mechanic in the game that I've talked about before where you can hug people. And it gives, like, if there's ever going to be a Game of the Year award for hugs, Spiritfarer should get it. But some of the characters, if they're not in a good mental state, they'll be like, no, please don't hug me. It's not a guarantee that you're going to be giving these hugs, and when you do, they give a boost to the character's mood, but it's not a guaranteed thing. Maybe a story event happened where they're just like they're not in a good mindset, or there's one character who you pick up. She's a teacher, she's a disciplinarian. You can never hug her. She does not want that, and that's a reality that I think, especially in 2020, a lot of us don't really understand. Some people don't want to be touched. You know.
Yeah. The more that you explain this, the more that I'm impressed with how so many games now, especially in the sort of indie realm and unique games, are dabbling with so many different emotional struggles that we deal
Mm.
with in real life. Take Celeste, for example,
Mm-hmm.
a game that addresses anxiety, depression, things like that.
Yep.
I think it's great because it becomes more relatable for people that have issues, and even for the people that don't. It
Mm-hmm.
gives them a new perspective on what it's like to interact with certain people. I think
Yeah.
that's great.
And this is the kind of thing I think we need more of in gaming.
Yes.
These indie studios have the ability to, I think, take a chance because they're not going to have the backing of a major studio that's going to be spending millions, if not billions, of dollars that is guaranteeing themselves a return on that investment.
Hmm.
Like we were talking about Assassin's Creed, right? Ubisoft has a formula. They know what's going to sell that game.
Hmm.
So they're going to invest a pile of money into it, knowing that they're going to get double that back or whatever the financials are, right? Unless they
Sure.
release a bad game, which, that's a whole nother thing altogether. But a game like Spiritfarer or River City Girls or even Last Guardian has the freedom to take more chances because these games are not going for that widest possible appeal. They're going for that niche, and they're going to make the best possible game they can. And Spiritfarer really hit it out of the park, man. It was the kind of game that I found myself playing like when I wasn't sure what I wanted to play. Because you can kind of just jump in at any time, and there's really no failure. You can ignore characters completely, and they'll just wait for you until it's time to move on with their quest. And some of them block you like from proceeding with your character growth. So there are some characters that you have to bring to the Everdoor to have them pass on to the other side. And if you don't, you won't get that next step that will allow you to upgrade your ship to get more blueprints that can allow you to go to regions of the map that you cannot currently get to.
Hmm.
And the entire time you're doing this, you're trying to essentially please these people by giving them food that they like, building them homes that they can live in on your gigantic, massive boat, Um, you're helping them accomplish what they need to accomplish to get across to the other side. So maybe bringing them to a town that they used to go to when they were younger, or there's one character who's looking for her long lost husband, who's a bit of a flirt and kind of likes to sleep with other women. So there's a whole thing with that, and each character has their own thing. One character, he loves to eat, he loves to cook, he loves to try to make people happy, and each character kind of comes to their own conclusion in a different way. There's some characters that you don't get to say goodbye to. There's some that make this huge drawn out process, and the music is just absolutely beautiful.
Hmm.
I mean,
Who does the score? Do you know?
Max LL is the
Okay.
composer's name. I'm
Okay.
not familiar if he's done anything else, either with Thunder Lotus, the developers, or on his own. But it is a nice combination of strings and piano, and just just thinking about some of the tracks gives me chills.
I'm definitely gonna have to look into this.
Yeah, it's a tremendous game. It's a fetch quest. I mean, let's be completely honest here, right? You're constantly looking for materials, items, and you're doing either harvesting, mining. You chop down a tree. Okay, now you have a log. Well, what can you do with this log? Well, you can use the log to build something, or you can make planks out of it and use that to build something. Well, now there's 4 different types of logs, and certain structures need certain types of wood. So you have that, and then you have crops, and certain crops are required to either feed certain people, make certain recipes. There's something like 100 recipes in the game,
Oh,
and
jeez.
I cheated. I looked up I looked up some of them online, because there's an achievement for it. If you can get all of the recipes, you get an achievement.
Hmm.
So I got to the point, like, I'm 30 hours into this game. I'm fucking getting that achievement. you know, there's
Yeah, why
there's
not?
a yeah, there's a fishing mini game where you can catch different types of fish, and then there's like tuna, which are they're like the boss fish basically. And if you don't time the whole fishing process right, the fishing line will break. You have to start it over again. But again, like, there's no punishment for failure. It's not a game about failing. There really is no failure. Maybe you have to do something over, but you don't lose what you've done to do that. You just start that part over.
Kind of reminds me of Greece. I know Greece
Yes,
had that same effect. Like I don't think you could even die in that game.
you couldn't. You couldn't. And in Greece's case, I saw that as a negative because Greece presented itself as a platformer,
Hmm.
whereas this game presents itself as an exploration, as a farming simulator, as a very laid back experience. Greece, I felt, kind of missed the boat because it comes across to me as a game that's trying to be this action platformer with a dramatic story, and maybe I misunderstood what it was trying to do. I'd be willing to say that, but I think it's just a different way of approaching the no death issue.